guess is finally here, the Logitech RS H-pattern shifter. It's in my hands, and whenever this video goes out, this should be on sale because it's been such a top secret project from Logitech G to get the H pattern right, and finally this is what they're going to release. This is it, and some interesting features with it, some things that are missing with it as well, and I've been using it in multiple games, so I'm going to let you know what I think. This has been so top secret, I don't even know the release date for this, I don't even know what the price is, so I will get confirmation of that before the video goes live, and that will be on screen. But first things first, this comes with a clamp, which is really important. It also looks very similar to the Logitech RS shifter and handbrake, so it's a similar design philosophy there. If you have Logitech RS shifter and handbrake, you're going to understand very well the level of build quality for this. Now, I want to start by saying I am normally always using flappy paddle shifters when I drive in sim. So when I'm sim racing, even if I'm rallying, I'm using the shifter paddles. Part of that is because the way I set up my rigs, I don't always like to have like shifter mounts getting in the way and stuff like that. However, when I drive in real life, my road car, my Peugeot RCZ, that's a manual car and I'm driving that all the time. And I've also raced in real life, driving Mazda MX-5 with H-pattern gearboxes, and I'm going to be doing track days, sim racing track days. I want you to get involved with this year when we're going to be taking our road cars to the track, including H-patterns. So I am getting more and more into H-patterns, but I'm not like a experienced H-pattern user. Now that starts with how I mounted this, because I wanted to mention the clamp early doors, because I think a lot of people who get this aren't going to have like super high-end rigs. If you have a super high-end rig, you may well have got like a super high-end shifter already. You might have got like the crazy BDH one or the MOZA active shifter or something like that. This is a Logitech G RS product that is perfect for people upgrading. So if you're on the G923, you can plug this in using the racing adapter. If you're on the RS50 or G Pro, you can use this straight in the back of it or go straight into your PC. Like, this is a product that I think reaches many different levels, if that makes sense. Now for me, as I mentioned, because I don't have the actual like mounting hardware on my FANATEC rig, tubular rig to do it, I bodged it. I bodged this clamp onto my keyboard mount, and it was fairly stable. If I push it, it's going to move, but it's fairly stable and it kind of works. So if you want to bodge it, have a look now at this clamp, because on the shifter itself, you have holes in the bottom, holes there. Obviously, you can screw straight into something if you got that ready. And on this clamp, you have holes here and holes on the top. So you can obviously go like that. You can go, you could kind of go like that. You can go like that. So you can go like, those are the ways you can do it basically. So if you can find something to clamp onto, maybe it can work. Unfortunately, I think for thick extrusion, this doesn't quite fit, but for thinner extrusion, it may do. Okay, let's talk about how this actually works. So this comes in the box. I'm going to take the knob off the top. I think in the box as well, if I remember, this also screws in. So you have to screw that into this as well. And then you get into the H pattern. Okay. Now I'm going to try and show you here. I might show you from the videos. So you've got, this is going to be really silly to do. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And then I won't be able to do this showing you here. You have to have quite a bit of force, I think a few kg of force, to get into seventh and reverse. Now, a lot of the games I tested, you have to bear in mind, you can map all of these gears in your game, and in every game I used, I didn't do anything in G-Hub with this. I just connected it via USB, and then in the sims, it just recognises buttons and I can map them. If you map gears, like maybe 6th and 7th, that your car doesn't have, you're probably going to show as going into neutral if you try and do that in the sim. That's not this being broken as far as I can tell, it's just the car in the sim doesn't have it. Now it's really satisfying to do stuff like go into reverse, it's really satisfying to try and slam down to first gear. I had a really good time in Mazda MX-5s at Brands Hatch, where it was uncannily similar to driving that car in real life on a track. So for example, I can remember my racing in the Mazda MX-5. Sometimes if you got the revs just right and you put it in second gear, in just the right part of the rev band, you feel like the drivetrain, like everything just like working in harmony and really kind of boosting you out of the corner. Again, that happens here. Alternatively, if you end up in the low rev range, it's really frustrating, and sometimes if you go down to second, but you've got too much speed and you're already buzzing it out. It's really frustrating. Those are all the same feelings. A lot of that's coming through the sim, but obviously the H pattern makes it possible to actually feel it. And the most fun I had with the H pattern is when I wasn't even looking at it. In fact, when I was doing stuff like BeamMG, messing around loads of different cars, as soon as I looked at the H pattern, I was crashing in the sim. And when you think about it, when you're changing gear in real life in your car, you're not looking down. So the moment that this kind of blends into your hand and it's just kind of there, and you're really looking at what screen, it becomes a bit magical, as you might expect, because you're doing things exactly as you would in real life. It's affecting the car in real life, and it's really, really cool. As soon as I start to think about it too much, it all goes wrong for me. I'm not a good sim racing driver with a H pattern at the moment. Absolutely not. Like, I'm embarrassingly bad. Doing ASETEK Corsa Rally in this, embarrassingly bad, because ASETEK Corsa Rally, you have to kind of like, use the pace notes and also minimize the time on the clutch and go, and it's just too quick for me, to be honest. But doing something at my own pace, like in BeamMG, like cruising around, it's really satisfying. It's really satisfying to actually choose your gear. Now, in terms of build quality, this is just very similar to the RS shifter and handbrake. Like, to me, it almost looks identical, except at the top we have the H pattern stuff. So I wouldn't expect anything like crazy good here, but also it's not going to feel cheap. It's going to feel exactly like how the RS range from Logitech feels. It's very, very consistent. I would say this feels better than like T598 level stuff from THRUSTMASTER. It feels slightly above that, but it's nothing like, for example, the BD8 shifter that I mentioned earlier. And this comes on stuff that's missing from here. So this doesn't have any haptics in it. Now, obviously, I'm guessing the price is going to be, very reasonable. If you had to push me, I would hope it would be like 120, 130, 140. So hopefully it's going to be around there. You're not going to get haptics for that price at the moment, but there is a change in sim racing to having H pattern shifters where it gives you haptics and force feedback, and basically it will give a grinding sensation if your clutch isn't in. It will sort of like hum with the transmission. You don't have that here. Like I said with the Mazda Racing in Brands Hatch and ASETEK Corsa, there were times it was just feeling like pretty much exactly the same for me. The main difference is that the only thing I wasn't feeling was the G-force in the car, but otherwise it's unlocked the final thing where the timing, even just like the time it takes your brain to make the decision, we're going to shift now, and then put your foot in the clutch, and then to biomechanically do that, and then and then take your hand off, like all that kind of stuff is basically one-to-one with reality. And let me know your thoughts in the comments if you also use H patterns in sim and reality, but it doesn't have that haptic level. It should work on PlayStation. I haven't tried it. It should work on Xbox. I haven't tried it. On PC, it just worked with everything I threw at it, which is pretty amazing. And you can obviously change the knobs for your fancy. Like, you could have a Rokon knob in here. I haven't bolted it to a rig yet, but I imagine it's absolutely rock solid. On the clamp, I couldn't get a really tight fix, no matter how hard I screwed this. Like this way, it would always want to rock back, understandably. Now, I've always been concerned about this. Feels like very plastic. I don't know if they had a stronger component here, whether you could really clamp it, or if there was two of these, you could really clamp it. So for me, that's something they could actually improve on. I don't know if there's a way of getting a third-party like thread for this, because the actual clamp itself feels really solid. It just, I have to keep tensioning this. So again, something to look out for if you do buy it. Hopefully my discount code, affiliate code, should give you 5 or 10% off this. That's code Kireth at Logitech G. So let me know if it does. And hopefully they're actually going to have this in stock. It's not going to be like a phantom launch. But from my perspective, as someone who's more curious about H patterns, I'm not like a hardcore H pattern guy. I would, if I could, and I think I'll try and get like a shifter mount here to have this as an option if I want to drive road cars. Because the big thing that changed me when I used this was not driving like GT3 cars or not ASETEK Corsa Rally. I don't think I'm going to use this ASETEK Corsa Rally. I think it's just too confusing for me. The thing that really tweaked for me was in something like BeamMG, I want to drive different cars. I want to experience how different cars, manual cars, drive using the transmission. And again, maybe this will make sense to you. And I'm sure in other games like Forza Horizon 6 or other games where there's tons of cars, I want to drive them more to experience the transmission, to have a bit more manual, have a bit more analog in that, rather than just using the flappy paddles. So that was something that means that I want to be more involved in the H pattern space. Again, maybe mixing it with like, you know, a real road wheel as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comment. What more do you want me to see to do with the Logitech RS H pattern? Hopefully you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.